Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another review, and today we're going all the way back to 2008 to a Christmas movie called Four Christmases, which stars Vince Vaughn, Reese Witherspoon and a whole load of cameos, which we'll get into in a little while. And I'm really excited to announce that today's video I've got my first ever collab on the channel. My good friend Anthony A. Perez has decided to collab in this video, and we're going to hear his thoughts a little bit later on and what he thought about seeing the film, whether it was his first time or whether he's seen it multiple times. And I want to thank him for appearing here. If you like what his thoughts are and his kind of in-depth review, the link below will include his link to his channel where you can check him out and subscribe to his channel because he's nearly at 1,000 subs and it'll be awesome to get in there. Tell him that the Z Review sent you. Now, anyway, this 2008 movie, I remember watching this back in the day, and now at times, especially with what's going on in the world, it's not very memorable when you watch a movie. It's more likely that you're going to be at home. You can't really go to like a friend or family's house to kind of see that, or you can't go out to the cinema or, you know, grab the snacks while you go and do so. So I remember in 2008, I was actually on a date at that time when I actually went to see this film. I do remember that date pretty well, just because this movie was so funny at the time, and just overall, we all remember our movies' experiences, whether they're good or whether they're bad. Now, this movie here, however, I am going to be a little bit biased. It has got a little bit soft spot to me because at that time, I loved a good, silly, comedy, over-the-top film. And I still do now, don't get me wrong. But especially at that time, Vince Vaughn was on the hot heels of kind of like Couples Retreat, for example. He also did similar movies along those lines. A couple of years earlier, he starred obviously in Dodgeball. So this was kind of like a big Vince Vaughn comedy film time slot, as to sort of say. As he's gone on nowadays, it's going to more like kind of serious roles. And Reese Witherspoon kind of came on the back of films like Just Like Heaven. Both these actor and actresses are very well liked, and I thought going into this movie, two big names like that, it's got to be great, surely. And for most part, their chemistry is actually pretty good. So I like the fact that Vince Vaughn is kind of like the same character as he always is, but he has got a certain charm about him where it doesn't come off as annoying. It doesn't come off as if it's like, oh, he's another Vince Vaughn film. It's just going to be the same. He's going to play the same kind of guy, and that's what you're going to expect for like 90 or so minutes. And Reese Witherspoon, she always kind of tailors her roles very slightly, but enough where it is different to what she's done in a different kind of film. So both of them do have pretty good chemistry in this film. However, a big point to this, when I read up a couple of facts about this movie, one of them was that Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon hated each other on the set of this movie. And it might be because Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon would show up at the set at different times, kind of like a different style of acting, whether they came all prepared or whether they just showed up on set and kind of went with whatever the script was for that kind of day. So they absolutely hated each other. And there was even one point where Reese Witherspoon refused to do kind of steamy sex scene with Vince Vaughn in this movie. So it might be also why it's got like a 12A rating. So anyway, kind of with that out the way, this film, for the most part, again, those two leads, despite them hating each other or whatever, on the screen, it comes off pretty good. And they come off as kind of like a likeable couple. However, I think where this film kind of gets lost is in the fact that they have quite a lot of cameos in this one movie.
Merry Christmas, Mom.
Hey, Dad.
Good to see you, Mom.
Merry Christmas, Dad.
Hey, these are my brothers, Denver and Dallas.
You must be Orlando's girl.
Orlando?
We're all
I
named...
think the issue is it focuses on some of the houses more than others, but it kind of doesn't give you enough time to care about those characters as much. Apart from maybe like Mary Steenburgen and Robert Duvall. And I think the film kind of does get lost in that kind of craziness of trying to be like outlandish. I feel like it does get lost. However, I have seen this movie on a lot of worst Christmas films ever to watch, and I really don't believe that's true. I think personally maybe again might be a little bit biased towards this slightly, but I really think this film is a little bit underrated, especially when they're creating a scene in the church, which is by far my favorite scene in this movie. But either way, guys, what I'm going to do now is hand you over to my good friend Anthony Perez and give you his thoughts on the movie.
Everybody, thank you so much to the Z Review for having me here in this collab review. We were recently in a collab together over on my channel for the movie Gravity, starring Sandra Bullock and George Clooney, and so you wanted me to come onto your channel as well, and you wanted me to check out the movie Four Christmases. When you first sent it to me, you asked me if I had seen the movie, and I said no, but that's mainly because I had forgotten the title of this movie or what this movie was all about. After I actually saw the poster for the movie when I was getting ready to watch it, I was reminded that I had seen this movie, but it was quite some time ago, and quite frankly, it was one of those things where I was kind of watching it at somebody's house one day, and I don't really remember it too well, or at least I didn't remember it too well, and yeah, it was nice to go back and revisit this movie. You also wanted me to just straight up just answer 4 questions as the main kind of meat and potatoes of this video, so I'll go ahead and get straight to it and assume that you've already talked about the plot. But yeah, going into this movie, I enjoyed it. I'm a fan of Reese Witherspoon and Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn has always just kind of been this actor who plays a very similar role in a lot of his movies, but his comedic style and the very kind of average Joe kind of characters that he tends to play, it just lends itself to kind of this funny character or these funny kind of moments that doesn't really rely on jokes. It's more just kind of this very natural kind of acting style that he has. One of my favorite movies with him is the movie's Couples Retreat, and similar to that movie, you know, you just have these moments where he's just funny by being very casual. Some of the lines of dialogue themselves aren't necessarily funny, but it's just how he says them. So I thoroughly enjoyed being able to see him in this movie with Reese Witherspoon. They had a nice chemistry, and the cast on an overall was really, really solid. You have a lot of different random people in this film, like Jon Favreau, who plays this very obnoxious side character in the film. It was nice to see Jon Favreau in this movie once again. And yeah, on an overall, I liked the movie. I found it to be a good time. I wasn't crazy about it, and I don't think it's like a bad movie. I saw that on Rotten Tomatoes, it had like a 20-something%, and I think that's definitely way lower than this film deserves. I think at its core there is some heart and charm to this film, though what I will say is that there are annoying sequences of this movie. I did a review earlier this year for the movie Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad, and I talked about how that's my favorite Christmas movie of all time, and similar to that movie, this movie lives in like a heightened reality, you know what I mean? It's not really based in like a normal reality of life, you know? You have to kind of lean into the over-the-top silly elements when you're watching a movie like this, which tends to come with a lot of Christmas over-the-top family films. And yeah, this movie just lives in one of those heightened realities with over-the-top characters and over-the-top situations. So my general thoughts on the film would be that I did really enjoy it. It wasn't my first time watching it, but I enjoyed it for what it was. It's not a movie that I'm running to see again, but it's a movie that I enjoy checking out for what it is. But I can say that it's a fairly generic Christmas movie, though there are elements about it that I think kind of give it its own identity. You wanted me to name my favorite scene of the movie, and I don't really know what I could say my favorite scene was. There were just moments more than anything. I would say my favorite sequence or section of the film actually was the earlier part of the film that we're spending with Vince Vaughn's character and Reese Witherspoon's character before they get wrapped up in the Four Christmases. You know, I kind of just enjoyed the banter and their relationship prior to them getting kind of mixed up in the story. And that's kind of funny because in a movie like this, you know, it's the character's journey that you kind of enjoy. It's near the end of the film, then, you know, kind of like the halfway point with them going through issues and them kind of having to learn to kind of love each other again. And they kind of have to reevaluate the relationship. That's where the story really challenges the characters and kind of starts to push things in a different direction. But yeah, I would say that the earlier part of the film was probably my favorite. I don't know, I just kind of enjoyed those scenes with them at the very beginning before things start to get crazy. I guess my biggest dislikes would be that there really wasn't much that I found myself caring about in the movie. I was interested and engaged in what was happening, and as a fan of Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon, I had a couple of laughs, and I was just enjoying the movie for what it is, but there was nothing about the movie that ever really felt like super engaging in the way that I was completely emotionally invested. I would say the thing I was the most emotionally invested to was definitely Reese Witherspoon's character and Vince Vaughn's relationship, but beyond that, I quite frankly didn't care about any of the side characters, and the side characters are probably my least favorite part of the movie. Some of them are just so over the top that it just becomes obnoxious, and it's not over the top in maybe even a funny way. I just felt like they were trying to really push the boundaries of having our main characters' families be so crazy that it was just like there was never a side character or a family member that ever really felt grounded. Everybody was over the top and big and crazy, and sometimes that kind of lent itself to being a bit over the top in not the best direction, a little bit obnoxious at times. And then you wanted me to rate this movie, and if I had to rate it, I usually don't do that over on my channel because I kind of struggle with kind of giving a definitive rating, but if I had to rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say that this movie is probably about a solid 6 for me. You know, it's a little bit better than average. I would say it's about average, around that area. You know, it's nothing crazy. It's not a Christmas movie I'm just running to see again. And I think a lot about it just feels generic at times, though I did enjoy it. I think this is the kind of movie that if it's on at a family member's house during Christmas, it can kind of be an entertaining watch to look over at every here and there. But it's not a movie that I'd be like, oh, I need to watch this every Christmas. For me, Jingle All the Way is my favorite one, and I know a lot of people feel similarly about that film. So, you know, with Christmas movies, or just in movies in general, it's a give and take kind of thing. It's going to be a hit or miss kind of thing. And, yeah, I would say that this movie for me, on it overall, is probably a solid 6. So a big thanks to the Z Review for having me here in this video. Thank you again, my friend. I look forward to doing more collabs on my channel and on your channel. So, again, a big thanks. Happy holidays to all of you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
I hope you enjoyed Anthony A. Perez's thoughts. I want to give a massive thank you to him once again for appearing in the video, and I really do appreciate what he said. He brought across some very, very good, strong points. The fact that he kind of agreed where it was underrated, where it doesn't deserve as much hate as it's gotten. But with that said, guys, my score for this film is... So yeah, if you're looking for a Christmas movie this holiday season with 10 days or less to go to this year's Christmas, I would say Four Christmases is a good one to watch if you've never seen it before and you're looking for a different Christmas title. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you have, and subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. And until next time, this has been the Z Review. Sign out.